today we're going to talk about two verbs that cause some confusion as well. The verbs make and do. Both of them mean fazer in Portuguese. However, when do I say make? When do I say do? It's true that do is used for more general things, general activities, especially when you're being vague in sentences such as, what are you going to do? Or, I have nothing to do today. In the past, I did nothing yesterday. I don't know what I'm going to do about this situation. So in these examples, do is not being specific. You're just mentioning general things that you can or you may or may not do. Do something or do nothing. And it's also true that make is used usually when you're constructing something, when you're building. I'm making a cake, for example, anything that has to do with food, making coffee, making a cake. The famous made in Brazil, right? When you buy a product and it says where it's made of, where it has been made. Let me see here. If my Havaiana says something, it's too worn out. I can't read whatever is on here anymore. However, the difficulty comes with the many fixed expressions. Sentences that are like they don't follow any rule. They simply are expressions that you use do and others where you use make. And the only way to know it is to memorize it. So there's a list on a website that I like a lot. It's called perfectenglishgrammar.com. You're gonna see here on the screen, perfectenglishgrammar.com, and there you can choose verb patterns and read the explanation about make and do, as well as access a list. The do list is not so big, you know, it's a page with a little bit, but the make list has basically 3 pages because there are so many fixed expressions with make. Let me give you some examples of do. You do your best. Yes, you did your best. You do your worst. You do well, right? You do all kinds of housework. You do the laundry. You do the dishes. You do chores or tasks. You do an exercise. You do homework and housework. You do your hair and your nails. You do a job. You do paperwork and you do research. Those are some of the examples with do. Now make, you know, it's not only physical things that you make. You can make things that are not physical. For example, you make a confession. Making a confession is not, it's subjective, right? It's something you talk, it's not something concrete. It's different than making a table or making this clip here, portfolio. Is it a clipboard? Yes, that's what it is. It's a clipboard. You can make a clipboard, but you can also make a confession as well as a complaint. You can make a decision. Look at that, making a decision, completely like subjective. You can make an effort. You can make a face. I'll make a face. É fazer careta, né? Making faces. You can make a fool of yourself. Se fazer de bobo, right? You can make a move. In making a move, I cannot translate literally. You know, é tomar uma atitude. Make a move, né? Fazer algo. You make a mistake, que é cometer um erro. We don't usually say fazer um erro. We say make a mistake, cometer. You can make an impression, that in Portuguese is actually causar uma impressão em alguém. You can make a mess, and then it will be something physical, right? Making a mess. You can also make progress. You make a promise. You make a joke. You make the bed. É arrumar a cama. Some people in the Northeast say fazer a cama. However, where I come from, the South, it's arrumar a cama. You make a suggestion. You make a visit. Fazer uma visita, right? You make up your mind, which is total like, it's an expression, it's an idiomatic expression, not idiomatic expression, but it's a fixed expression and you cannot translate literally. Make up your mind. Não é fazer a sua cabeça, fazer a sua mente. É, né, se decidir. I made up my mind about the type of cake that I want for my birthday. Strawberry shortcake. Well, if you have any doubts or any questions about when to use do or make, you can leave your comments, but I do suggest that you check and print this list from perfectenglishgrammar.com. It's not my website and I don't get any money for advertising it. I just really like it and I use it a lot with my students. And try to use the expressions as much as possible, as many times as possible, until you know them by heart, which means by heart, de cor. And we have the beautiful Passando pela Caseiro Caicó that's passing in front of my house, and you can hear the audio, and I'm not going to edit it, I'm going to leave it here. Reminding you all that my school is located in Natal, Rio Grande do Norte. We are in the Ponta Negra neighborhood, and we have classes that focus on conversation, especially conversation. We do exam prep. We get you ready for an exam. We also do English for tourism, English for traveling, English for interviews. We prepare people for interviews, job interviews even. Whatever you need, we're here for you. And we can also teach Spanish and Portuguese for foreigners. So give us a call or send us an email. My website is on the channel www.inglescalifornia.com. I don't have the BR in the end, inglescalifornia.com. And of course, we're in Brazil, in case you're wondering. Okay, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. Even though, you know, it's super homemade, super caseiro, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't use like a great camera. This is my computer camera, and my objective with these videos is really help my students when they're not in class, and also, you know, advertise my school. Okay, guys, bye-bye.